you didn't understand the thing. The motivation has gone down, and maybe that's the reason why everybody is like not understanding subjects.
Being exposed to everything, the tensions were definitely very high between every single person that walked in and employees.
It was strange coming home from the UK to my home country and then having to isolate in a place that didn't really feel like my own.
Stories of an Instant is a virtual reality experience which shares many different perspectives created by the societal circumstances of COVID-19. We conducted interviews with people from all around the world and used their voice recordings as a tool to tell the story of the pandemic.
So when we started the project, the corona lockdown in Germany just started. So we had to find a way to have the lectures digitally. We have to have meetings digitally and work digitally and find a platform where we can all access the files, the project management files, and stuff like that. So just like everyone else, we had to find a way to make things work on this pandemic.
We know everyone in this world we're experiencing the pandemic together, and sometimes we only know about ourselves. We don't really know what are others experiencing. So we think it would be a very meaningful idea for us to document these voices. For us, we learned a lot from these stories, and we also hope to bring these stories to our audiences.
People had someone, and I think that at that moment, I think almost like 2-3 weeks into the lockdown, it hit me. I was like, I actually cannot do anything now. You know, I cannot see anyone. I don't have friends to meet or family. So it was, and virtual interaction is not really my kind of interaction because doesn't feel the same. The whole April was very, very tough because it was just basically keeping yourself busy, because whenever I would stop work, my head would just wander off in all sorts of places where I would be very, very alone and lonely. When you realize actually you need social interaction, and then it sort of went south.
An important topic in withstanding the effects of the corona crisis is mental health, because the well-being of ourselves is very based on the interaction with other human beings. We strive to keep social closeness, but through social distancing, that is something that we, in the benefit of all of us, shouldn't be doing. Our 3D objects, which are scattered in the virtual reality experience, all have some kind of symbolic language. By that, we try and strive to illuminate the life and the issues people have to go through caused by the corona pandemic.
To realize this project, we primarily used Unreal Engine and Blender. The most time-consuming task that we had was the task of creating the materials. Because not only were these materials important for our visual aesthetic, but they also have a meaning behind them. In our case, we have two dominant elements, which is glass on the one hand and fog on the other. Glass is very transparent, clear, neutral, and fog, on the other hand, is impacting your sight. It is not transparent at all, and if you go through fog, it makes you feel uncertain because it is limiting your perception. And with these two contrasting elements, we try to play around and really create this immersive feeling of being left in uncertainty, a feeling that many of the people that we interviewed have in common. We used VR as a medium because it really allows you to escape from your everyday life for a short amount of time and lets you focus on the things that have been given to you. In our case, you are really the protagonist of this world, and you are allowed to explore by yourself, and it really allows you to experience the uncertainty that we are trying to accomplish. Our project is somewhat of a time capsule in that it tries to really capture what some of us have been going through. The question we asked ourselves during this project was, is it possible to capture a moment in time? Do you as a user get to really grasp what it was like during this pandemic?
Spreading so quickly around the globe, it may only be a matter of time before it begins rolling across the U.S. with the potential to become a pandemic.
When you have influx of individuals who are infected.
Front auf einer Corona-Isolationsstation im Ruhrgebiet gegen das Coronavirus und die damit verbundene
And I remember that it was going on. No one knew what a lockdown or a pandemic actually means. So since the government told everyone to stay at home, we were kind of left alone.
I think it was in a context in school, and I think everybody underestimated it. I think we were all pretty excited when schools are closing at the beginning. But when I went to school today, you could see that a couple of people were very excited.
After that was, I actually got an email, we won't be needed for work. So I think at that moment it really did affect me, because that is one of my main incomes. I'm a freelancer, self-employed.
Wahrgenommen wird und gemacht wird, aber das ist manchmal jetzt reicht es irgendwo so.
Unhappy, uncertain times. I feel like I've really evolved through these last couple of months, but it has definitely also taken a huge emotional toll on me. I was just very...
So the project itself was challenging for us on various levels, such as that we are from different backgrounds like science and technology studies, media informatics, and fine arts.
This is a very interdisciplinary project in the sense that every one of us is bringing different expertise to the project. It's a little bit out of my comfort zone, because in the past I didn't really have the chance to work with people from the art field. Yeah, so I was wondering, are we going to have a very different communication styles? Are we going to have a very different working style? But I think this journey, it is quite pleasant. Yeah, but when looking back our meetings and also how the idea was developed, I feel so great that we actually have a common ground. So our common ground is we want to make an exhibition to our audience. We want to bring the different voices to our audience. So yeah, we have this common ground, and we every one of us is bringing our own expertise.
And it was just the fear of uncertainty of if I was going to get home. I feared the most about catching the coronavirus because I work at Target and I'm exposed to many different people all the time. And I could have been exposed to someone and them not even knowing it, or them knowing it and completely ignoring the signs. And the farthest I went was down the road to take a walk. So that was very mentally exhausting, knowing that I couldn't leave my house or be around my friends because I'd just been having the time of my life, and I couldn't even see my best friends. And then going straight to work was definitely an emotional constraint because everything was blocked off and people could only get food and cleaning supplies and stuff. So it was hard at work to deal with people wanting to get other things that weren't considered essential, and just being exposed to everything. The tensions were definitely very high between every single person that walked in and employees.
Working on this project was very challenging, but also very rewarding, because we got to hear so many different stories of people all around the world, and we got to really reflect on our own life and experiences and what we have been going through at the same time. So we really hope that this reflection process also gets to happen to the users of Stories of an Instant.
No one really knew what was going on, and no one knew what a lockdown or a pandemic actually means. So since the government told everyone to stay at home, we were kind of left alone with what to do with that. We were sitting at home and we did not dare to go outside or meet our friends, and no one dared to invite anyone over, since no one wanted to be responsible for anyone getting sick or ill. Also, being alone at home for most of the time, if you didn't have flatmates, it got kind of boring, and after some time you felt lonely. Even though you had the internet and you could connect with your friends, it was still not the same.
This is actually a process of reflection. So I think in research creation, we want to invite our audience to reflect with us together. We're including a paper in our exhibition. So in this paper, we want to take more spaces to introduce also this concept to our audience.
令到疫情啊或者其他節日放大咗，咁但係其實老人家呢一方面其實係少咗，但係都係一個好直接嘅問題。
Da haben wir angefangen mit 2 Hydroxychloroquin-Studien, also Medikamentenstudien. Da hat man auf einmal eine Maske, eine Haube über den Haaren und auch so ein Visier. Wenn du nur 1 oder 2 Abstriche machst, ist das okay. Aber ich habe ja am Anfang jedenfalls irgendwie...
Con el coronavirus creo que la familia realmente empieza a tomar un rol mucho más importante dentro de la educación. Que los padres estén más atentos a la educación de los hijos ayuda a los niños, no tanto por los aprendizajes escolares, sino por el vínculo que pueden formar con ellos.
Es war der Lockdown, da wurden ja die Schulen geschlossen. Dann war gar nicht klar, wie es für die Lehrer weitergeht. Mich hat gestresst, dass ich online eben meine Sachen
as a whole, I feel concerned for the industry that I'm in. Most theatres make 50% of their annual turnover from panto, Christmas shows, etc. There's no tours, no music gigs, no musicals, no plays. Also theatre and education, that can't carry on, and I worry that this
Ende Mai Insolvenz gemeldet hat, sprich bis dato wurden auch keine Gehälter ausbezahlt, was bedeutet hat, dass ich finanziell einfach ein riesiges Loch hatte.
In everything that I was doing, I was rethinking all of the messages which I was sending to people during the pandemic. I was rethinking every photo that I was posting, deleting them 5 times in a row, and even hurting myself for it. I got a psychologist for myself to cope with that feel of guilt.
There are 3 actions that Stories of an Instant challenges you to do. It's for one, to feel the uncertainty that many of the interviewees have been going throughout their journey. It is also to realize how intersected and intertwined many of these stories actually are. And most importantly, accept our lack of knowledge when it comes to grasping what a time really has been like.